Yeah, that's good.
All right.
Okay.
Happy birthday.
Day early.
A day early.
Yeah.
At 6. Well, when do you plan on releasing this? On Sunday?
Weekend, really? Say next week, starting next week.
Starting next week?
Banger right off the get-go. No? Monday?
Maybe.
Or Tuesday?
It is gonna be a busy weekend. So our weekends are the busiest. Like I always tell people this. Like I was talking to the neighbor.
Uh-huh.
And
Which one?
The upstairs neighbor, the guy.
Uh-huh.
Married couple. And he's like, finally the weekend. Because people are like that. It's like finally the weekend. And I always tell people, I was like, yep, it's game time. Like it's game time.
I had a guy at the gym. He's a personal trainer, and he says, so what you got going on for the weekend? And I just think, the first one that comes to mind is work, right?
Right,
like,
work.
It's like, well, my businesses are running on the weekend, but, I take Sundays off, so.
That is true. A luxury.
A luxury.
A luxury.
I go hard on the weekdays.
It's very interesting because, yeah, dude, I don't feel like a lot of people work,
Yeah.
6 to 7 days a week. People get tired very quickly. I remember like when we were in Austin, the first 2 months we went ham, bro.
Yeah.
And remember I like burnt out? Remember I burnt out?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I didn't know what that felt like. I
Right.
didn't know what burning out was, And
They look pretty burnt out.
that was the first time I felt it, and I was like, holy shit, I work like all the time.
And that's the reason why I take Sundays off, and I'm trying to be more strict about them because, yeah, and I think I told you, it's just a day for me to catch up on and not even catch up on things, just rest, bro. Like, not even errands, Sometimes a lot of people think, oh, it's my day off, but you're still running errands.
Yeah.
You're still going grocery shopping. You're still doing laundry. Obviously, if it's a necessary, I will do it. But I'm just relaxing, dude.
Yeah.
Just need my soul to catch up. And obviously, church. I really tried to go by, what God did. The 6 days go hard and then rest the seventh. And I don't know. It's been helpful.
Yeah, I try to implement that, and I told you I was like, my goal was to do Thursdays off.
Thursdays off? Have you been doing that?
No, because my class moved.
Oh, yeah.
My class, so I'm taking a dancing class, guys.
Bachata.
Bachata, bro.
You gotta be specific, bro.
Bachata, bro. Every time I tell people, everybody's like, "Oh my god!" Like,
Yeah, you don't hear many people doing that as a hobby.
yeah,
A bachata class, not even a dancing class.
I feel like it's one of those again where like people are like, they would like to try that, they would like to do something like that, but it is something that's like a little bit uncomfortable.
Definitely, especially if you don't know. Like if you're starting out fresh. You're starting out fresh.
I'm starting out fresh, guys. Like I don't know how to dance.
Yeah,
I didn't.
I wonder if that will translate into other areas of your. I mean, definitely, the confidence boost, but just the body, right? Coordination and feeling your body and being more in tune with it. That has to. I experienced that, and I'm sure you too, but at the gym, right? Yeah. Being more in tune with your body. So, but yeah, I'm happy that you're going because that's always been something that your mom always asking, right? Like, Jesus no baila, just that could be over, right?
Dude, and and that was like so frustrating,
Yeah.
And so that's why I was like, I have to learn how to dance. Yeah. And then, so we don't go out as much.
Yeah, it's hard.
We don't go out as much, but, we do go out. And it's like, and a reason why we also don't go out, I feel like, as much is because you don't know how to dance, If you knew how to dance, it's like, oh, well, yeah, let's go out. It's fun,
Even with your girl, if you have a girl and if she doesn't know how to dance, she doesn't like it, don't even worry about it. But if she does, you can take her out.
Well, the cool thing about girls, like, if she doesn't know how to dance, you could show her.
Yeah.
You could, like, kind of, like, teach her,
Yeah.
So, but if she doesn't like it, then yeah.
Yeah, and I did like what you said about neutralizing your weaknesses, right? And it's in the book that you finished reading, but just how you're gonna have weaknesses, and you don't have to focus so much on them to get them to be strengths, but at least be neutral and not. Yeah, if you neutralize them, they could be helpful for sure. And then you go to the party and you're not like the one that, knowing how to dance and not wanting to dance. And
You know when it kind of got me too? It was like, I remember when we went with Kat, remember to that Thanksgiving thing?
oh yeah,
And they were like kind of dancing.
right.
And
You
I
weren't
was
really.
like, I was-
You were watching the America the
That
game
was
too,
when
bro.
I was at my peak,
Yeah.
Like, that's when I was like really into it.
Right.
But like I also didn't feel confident dancing.
Yeah.
So it was just like it made sense for me to be like,
Right.
let me focus on watching the game because that's not my area.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of moments like that, but it's a heavy one right now, guys. So Isaac wants to push and schedule these. We were just talking about this. He wants
Yeah.
to push and schedule and I'm on that vibe too, where like I know I want to do these podcasts, but to me it's been a little bit hard to commit to things because I don't want to commit to everything,
Yeah.
Like I don't want to say yes to things that I can't do.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm trying to.
Well, and that's the thing that in our dynamic, if one pushes, things get done, right? Like it doesn't necessarily have to be the two of us, and that's when sometimes things can fall behind or they stall because we think that both of us need to do it, right? But I think we're at a place where we know a few people, we've made some connections, and most importantly, in just sharing our lives and what we're doing and our businesses and our partners and people that we know. I think we have a good connections to be able to bring guests. And I don't want to say, every Tuesday or Wednesday we'll do it, but I'm definitely going to push to make it happen and to talk about things that we want to talk about. Primarily just because I feel like we're at that stage where we should build the brand, right? And we're growing, and we have some other news coming in this podcast that I just feel like we're there, right? And we need to expand our presence and just expand the brand. So I definitely want to push for us to talk more because we do it. But the setting up and all these things, but I even told you, let's hire somebody, right, to take care of setting up and editing, and we just literally for 1 hour sit down and talk. And I think that just sharing what we know and what we've been through, it's good for us. And then whoever wants to tune in and check up on what we're doing, that would be pretty cool too.
Yeah, I think the hard part is just I feel like there's endless ideas, right? But
yeah.
I feel like sometimes what lacks is just the resources to, because, hiring someone else and then paying, for this to get done. It's just an investment. And I think that's one of the things that makes it a little bit complicated to sometimes do things because, we want to output more, want to give more. But obviously you have to take that investment first, that risk first.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just a little bit complicated and yeah, but we'll see what happens. Connect to the Good Life once a solid 15 episodes.
That was your podcast.
That was my previous podcast. And I think what also happened to us, guys, I'm sure you can agree with this, is the fact that I think you and I both got to a place where like we didn't want to give too much of our opinion.
Yeah.
And I think both you and I went through a stage where we're like, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. Like, you were doing it like a lot in fitness. Mm-hmm. And, I was doing it a lot in, entrepreneurship. And obviously you were doing entrepreneurship too.
Yeah.
And I felt like, to me, that's, it always like, when I think about those, it's a little bit weird, bro. Cause like, when I think about those moments, I get a little bit of a cringe feeling, you know?
Same.
Because I'm just like, who the fuck was I to tell people what to do? And like, I was so wrong in so many things. And you know, like, I have a better understanding of how things work now. Obviously not perfect, but I have a better understanding. And so, you know, that's what made it difficult to give advice or, you know, to give my take, because I just didn't want to influence anybody, really.
Yeah.
And I feel like we both went through that. So my question is, what's different now for you?
Well, I think...
Or what's changed, you know, since that?
Yeah. Well, the difficult part is when you start out, you don't have credibility, right? Because you don't have a track record that people can look at, and obviously your lifestyle may not be as good, right? And I think that we were there, and that's why it was so complicated to, and I'm not saying it's wrong to do it, right? Like, you can do it. And
I always find myself saying these things too. Like, it's not wrong. You know?
Yeah, you have to make sure, because again, I go back to different things will work for people, right? And there's no right or wrong answer, but just from my experience, I wanted to focus more on the work and get more success under my belt, and
so people could like trust you.
Yeah, so people could, you know, trust us, and also because the work required my focus and my attention. And like you said, it's that cringe of telling people what to do when I didn't have anything under my belt. And
yeah,
I just decided to focus on the work. And I would say this time is different because, well, one, I really love, I think you and I are really good operators, business owners, business people. We have a lot to grow, but I really like how we go about doing things, right? And I think that there's so much that can come from sharing what we talk about, and for us to brainstorm and discuss it further, and then to meet more people, right? I think ultimately I don't want to focus so much on who's watching this, but rather who are we meeting when we're doing these videos, these episodes. And the difference is that now we know more people. We talked about how staying in one place really helps you build community, and we have different pools, different pockets here in the city where we can pull from. I don't see why not. We can talk to a Gare from the church, right? Like, talk to him, and he's the pastor of our church. And we have multiple. You've researched so many businesses, and we've met the business owners that I feel like we can talk to them, right?
For sure.
Armand,
For sure.
the guys at the bike shop, the guy that you just met looking at that building. And I think that's just so interesting, right? The bungalow, right? The owner, the owner, Fairmont, the hotel, and starting like that. I think that's really interesting, especially because our business is located here in LA, in Santa Monica.
Loki just got pumped.
Yeah, so that's why, you know, I've been having this feeling, and all these things kind of starting to come together, that I'm on that vibe of, okay, let's really commit to doing this. And you don't have to do all the work. I don't have to do all the work, and we can make it happen.
You will do the work.
Yeah. So that's what's changed. And obviously the success and our brands, right? Back then we had no brands. It was just us, right?
Yep.
So I think that carries a huge weight. We have, right, like Beachside, Ride It Baby, the one that we're going to talk about right now, H&D, and we're doing a lot of things, and I think it's interesting to share what we're doing.
So I guess like this is the part where I would like to backtrack.
Yeah.
And how far are we in?
About like 10 minutes.
10 minutes? I should Yeah, this is the part where I would like to...
5 minutes, 6 minutes left.
Okay, so we're like 15 minutes in?
Yeah.
14 minutes? Yeah, so this is the part where I'm like, I would like to backtrack and just kind of, you know, because you mentioned a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned like the bungalow, Ride a Baby, Beachside, all these owners, you know, the communities, living in LA. You mentioned all these things, right? But we haven't been like
Sharing much?
about how we got here.
Yeah.
Especially post, like prior to pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Because we were posting stuff.
Yeah.
We were like posting daily.
Yeah. The
For, like,
vlogs.
15 days. Maybe there's like a 15-day thing, bro. Like where it's like after 15 days, that shit just dies off, or like 15 hits.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, we were doing the vlogs. You know, we were going hard at documenting, and then a lot of things have changed since then. You know, so I feel like I would like to kind of share, you know, some of the things that have been important to you that you would like to share, and you know, and then how that leads to, you know, some of the things that we mentioned here, our vision, and you know, talk about, you know, obviously our next venture.
Yeah. So
I don't. Yeah, I mean, you know, where would you like to start? Where do you feel like?
I think just a recap of coming here to
Cali.
Well, even super quick, just right. I dropped out of college. I convinced Max to move to Texas. He was in Indiana, where I'm originally from.
Damn, that's a long ass backtrack.
And moved to Texas, started a marketing agency, had some success doing that. Moved to Miami for a few months, worked with someone there. Shout out Steven.
Shout out Steven.
He might watch this.
Shout out Steven.
And we lived there for 3 months, still doing the marketing. Went back to Texas. We were kind of
Our lease was ending.
And long story short, we went back to Goshen, Indiana.
Well, you stayed.
I stayed?
Yeah, you stayed. I went back to Indiana.
Oh, okay.
And you stayed. And
oh, yeah, because I started traveling with Veggie.
Well, we kind of traveled together.
Yeah. You joined?
I joined.
Yeah.
Once we left Texas, well, when I left Texas and our lease ended, we took a travel gap.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're like, I always tell people that I'm like, yeah, I saw everybody traveling, and I think that was the thing. Do you feel like that's how it was for you, or why did you want to travel? I always tell people, I was like, I just saw everybody traveling, making traveling videos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's it. Like, that's what I have to do. I just got sold on the idea, you know?
I think so.
Was that like you too? Or?
And I think that it was a trend. You know, we came to a dead end with the agency and the marketing that we just we were still running.
Yeah,
we still had some clients, but we weren't pushing as hard. We
didn't know how to like grow it.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to grow our business back then. It was like more localized, and it's hard getting in dealerships.
Yeah.
We got in with the best ones.
Yeah, we did. We've always done that.
We've always gotten in with the best ones, but like we haven't been able to get more.
Yeah. So we took that travel gap, and then we went back to, we traveled for what, 3 months?
Yeah. 3 months, and then that's when we did our Hawaii trip.
Yeah, we were there for a good 2 months. And then we went back to Goshen, and that's when we started planning and thinking about what our next move was going to be. And honestly, bro, I'm so glad that we were still plotting, right? We got back, and it could have been so easy.
Well, even in Hawaii, you know.
Yeah, it could have been so easy to just let go and stay in Goshen and do, you know, what everyone does. But we started plotting, and we came up with this idea of moving to Cali, and we got a group together of friends that were willing to move with us, and we ended up moving here, and we got a house in Diamond Bar here in California. We lived there for 2 years. People came in, people left. And at the end, it was you, me, my cousin Veggie, and then our good friend Ivan.
Who's still here
in Cali. The only one left.
The only one who we didn't personally invite, which is hilarious.
Yeah, he wasn't in the original group, and somehow he ended up coming, and now he's the only one here. And yeah, we lived there for 1 more year, us 4. But I think I'm skipping that you found Ride It Baby. Oh, well, not Ride It Baby. You found the truck.
Right. So yeah, That's like a fast recap, which
Yeah.
is like I like to fast recap the first portion, and then like I like to kind of take my time once we get to California,
Right.
because that's what's more fresh and what, what we were able to build.
And we got here in 2019.
2019, yeah, summer of 2019, moved to Cali. I remember, like, we moved here with nothing. Like, we were running low. Like, again, we had made good money from our agency, and like good money. I think like good money, not like crazy amount of money. Like but it's like we were paying our own bills. We were surviving. Like, I wasn't asking my parents for anything.
We definitely had a good 5 figures in the bank account, right?
Yeah. But it got to a point where we weren't able to grow past a certain amount, remember? Yeah, so we traveled and we stopped working with our clients because we were traveling, and the bank account was running low. And I've told Isaac this before, but there was like a day where, it got to the point where it was running low, that I just got like super anxious, super stressed out, like I was just like, I would say that's the nearest I've gotten to like a panic attack.
Yeah. I remember I even had to pull my funds on Acorns, right? Like my savings.
Yeah, everybody, like I ended up doing Uber. So we came like literally with nothing. And like, people, and like, bear in mind that by this point though, we've done a bunch of shit that like people wouldn't do. Like, people wouldn't have moved to Austin, Texas. People wouldn't have started their own agency. People wouldn't have traveled to Hawaii. Like, we were doing a bunch of things that like we were just being fucking ruthless out there. And again, we weren't fucking making it out and being millionaires, and we still aren't. But again, like, I think just the courage and the willingness to get out there is just so, when I look back at it, it's just so admirable. And so we had done this, so it's like we were, we had somewhat of a character, coming into California, and we had something, but we were running low on a lot of things, and we had some idea of what to do. But anyways, I ended up finding Ride-A-Baby, the truck, a bike rental shop here for sale, first business. I didn't even know such thing as buying a business, but we moved to Cali. It was one of those like super crazy stories where like we moved here and the guy's like, "Hey, did you move to Cali?" And I was just like, "Dude, I actually did." And at that point I knew that it was like, this is it. Like, this is it. Like, it's just crazy that we made the move. This guy messages me and it's available, right? So we ended up buying the business. And we bought the truck, turned that into what it is now, which is Ride-A-Baby Bikes.
Gotta represent.
And it was a tough year at first because of COVID. And we were shut down. It was basically first year, like, just getting to know things, Right now we have electric bikes, electric scooters. But back then it just had regular beach cruisers and different pricing. So, it was just like learning the game. Back in 2019, we didn't live in Santa Monica. We were living in Diamond Bar, as Isaac mentioned. So it was just like a bunch of like learning California, learning the business, living with 6 other people. Like, the first year was just crazy. And again, you have COVID, I was doing Uber. What were you doing? Just working with Erica?
Working with Erica, and then we did Instacart together when the pandemic hit, and that's it. Yeah. Dude, and then we still had Antonio, right?
Oh yeah.
We were doing our marketing agency. We had one client here that Max found, and we were still working with him. Okay. So some of that money we were still collecting.
Yep. Some of that money, and then Rib was making some.
Well, and then Downey, we picked up. But
that was
Downey.
after.
That was after?
Yeah, that was after. So yeah, that was Rib, and then it just kind of got to that point where our lease ended for that first year, right?
Yeah.
And at this point, how many people was it? It was at first.
At first, it was
7. And we're paying like 2,800, right? Or was it 3K already?
No, it was the 3.
It was a 3.
I think so.
So it was like we were paying in rent like $400, which is really cheap, right?
Yeah, individually, yeah.
That's really cheap, like $400. And then we went from 7 people to 4 people.
Yeah.
Was it 7?
7. Christian, Kyle, you, me, Veggie, Choyas,
Did you say Seth?
and Seth. 7.
7? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so then it was just 4 of us. And so what? Now we were paying how much in rent?
4, 3, 500?
500? No more.
More?
Yeah,
Oh, no, see, like
like 750?
750?
Was I paying more because of the bigger?
I think at some point, because you stole it from me.
But yeah, I'm just saying that because like, you know, as time went on, you know, we kept kind of like pushing the limits, right? And that was like another area of like, fuck, like now it's just 4 of us, you know, like there was this sense of like, you know, rent is gonna like almost be double, you know, can we do this? And then we lived a year in Diamond Bar again with Choyas and Veggie. And it was just, I mean, that was a crazy year, but that was the year, you know, where we finally got to see what Rib was.
Yeah. That was 2020 or 2021.
2021.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we had to just make the decision, or our lease was ending. Do we stay? Do we leave? And we decided to move to Santa Monica.
Yeah.
If you wanna,
So
I could take a break ski.
So it was just you and I. Veggie made the decision to do Veggie.
Right.
And then Choyas moved in with this girl who he found throughout our stay, Jenna, and throughout our stay there in Diamond Bar. And we moved here obviously primarily because of Rib. And
which was like, again, like one of those, another ballsy like move.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say so? Like, wouldn't you say that there was some uncertainty there?
Definitely. Yeah, it was like the dream city for us. At least for me it was, right? Just from working here at Rib and seeing all the action and what you hear, and it's expensive. It's so touristy. You have the beach right here. It's kind of like a city.
The girls.
The girls. And then it was just a bold move because obviously rent was going to go higher for us. And we had Rib, but it was going to be a challenge nonetheless. So we moved here in September, right, of 2021. 2021, September. Yep. And I don't think if by this time, because I'm trying to also let the people know that when we really started thinking about growing into what we
are now.
Yeah, what we are now. And
right.
I think that I can't remember if we were already thinking we'll buy more businesses, but I think I was definitely aware about the fact that we had bought a business, right? And we completely turned it around. Well, we didn't even buy a business. It was just a truck that he had operated, and it was parking in his lot.
It was a business.
And then I don't know if we were thinking, hey, I think there's something in buying businesses, making them better, and yeah, just making them better, right? Do you recall we were already thinking that?
I don't think so. I don't know if it was that clear. I think it was just clear that we had bought in on a good opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think that was it.
Yeah, we were so focused on how much it was producing for us that we were like, oh my gosh, this money is great. I can't believe it. We bought it for really cheap. And so, yeah, we didn't know yet, but eventually that came. And you know, we did live here in Santa Monica, and of course, being super close to our business, literally less than 10 minutes away from it, just allowed us to take it to the next level.
The next level.
And that was last year.
Yep.
Right?
2021, right?
No, 2022.
Well, 2022, yeah.
Because we moved in September 2021, and then the next year, 2022, that's when we really just went all out. But it didn't take long because in April, I don't know how you started, researching other businesses, and by this time it might have clicked already because you started researching other businesses to buy.
Yeah.
And I don't know where you got that from, but you started doing that.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So 2021,
2022, last year.
right, but leading into 2022, right? So yeah, I don't know what
Cody Sanchez?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how I got into just continuing to look businesses for sale, but I think I just did. I ended up just Googling bike shops for sale, something. And yeah, I remember I traveled back to Indiana for the holidays 2021, and fucking January 1st, I found a business a business for sale, and I reached out to him on January 1st, 2022. Got back to Cali. I was like, hey, yeah, let's see what this is about. I went to go see the shop. Yeah. I always go see it first, and then I let Isaac know, and then we closed on that deal.
Yeah, so that was a bike rental shop in Redondo Beach, and we closed on that deal in April, and that whole process was just so illuminating for us, and complicated and
stressful,
and it was another business that we were going to buy. And just because I really want to, I'll be a little bit more transparent, but just to put it into perspective, Rib was like 12K, right? 15K, I'm sorry. 15K. And then when we bought Beachside, the guy was selling it for how much? 200 something, right?
It's just, I think 200.
200?
Yeah.
I think it was up there, bro, in the 2 something.
Maybe
250. Yeah, maybe. It was I would say no less than 250. And we were considering buying it. And
I was.
And yeah, well, Max was.
Isaac was very no.
Yeah, I was in the idea that it was not worth that much. He didn't have his reporting right.
Yeah.
They were all over the place.
And he was just 1 year in business.
Yeah, and he was just 1 year in business, and the shop wasn't decked out or anything. And I kept telling Max, bro, I think we can lower the price. Let's, And it got to a point where we just let go of the deal. We were like, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And he came back to us just saying, hey, I'm willing to lower the price. And he's like, just give me 100, right? I think I showed you the message that he said, just give me 100 for it.
I think so, yeah.
I'll take 100.
I think he said 120, and then just kept dropping it.
Yeah, he just kept dropping it, and it got to the point where we got him down to 80K.
80K.
Right? And we said, bro, it's 80K. If we fail...
Yeah, I was like... Well, here's the thing. It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Again, because you were kind of explaining that going from 15.
Yeah.
It's hard going from 15 to 80. It's a big jump, you know?
Yeah. So
I think that's important to just mention. But I agree also with the fact that it's it is just 80.
Yeah.
Compared to 200, it's
right.
We can take this investment and see what it produces.
Yeah. Yeah. So we bought it for 80K. And we gave half at the beginning, and then at the end of September, we had a few months to give the other half. And we bought Beachside, and we added a service department, Beachside, and we just did the same thing, right? We saw a business owner that wasn't interested in running it anymore. He wanted to do something different. And with our experience from doing Rib rentals, we were like, it's the same thing, but obviously
different place,
much higher overhead. We had to hire
Because this
people.
is an actual storefront.
Yeah, this is an actual Beachside is a retail shop, and
we also got into that situation of like, because at this point, what the business, I would say Isaac was mainly handling rib, and I was just kind of helping out on the weekend type of thing. But Isaac was like hands on, like making sure that everything was running. And so it kind of got to that point where it's like, what's complicated when just like buying a business is like, okay, well, how are we going to operate not only that business, but this business and, everything that we're trying to do, like this podcast, everything. It's like, again, going back to the resources, how do we allocate all of our resources to make these things happen? That I feel like, again, that's what holds us back, that sometimes, we don't have those resources.
Yeah. So it was at that point that we said, okay, we have 2 shops now. How are we going to do this? And then I naturally gravitated towards running Beachside, and Max stayed here in Santa Monica running Rib. And yeah, I think that, looking back at it, we did really well. You filled that role really well, and I did the same thing, which is, I think, one of my strengths is just setting the foundation of things and operating, the business. And where you come in is, all those opportunities that we've mentioned, right? That you started looking into buying businesses, and you found the truck from this guy that reached out to you, and then finding Beachside. And
I'm like, I think that's my role. Like, even when we moved out here, like also connecting with Antonio, connecting with Isa.
Yeah.
Like, that's my role. That's where like I'm just like, I would just say, I don't know, I'm just like very like hungry, and again, I get to that point where it's like I'm just hungry and I need to make something happen.
Yeah.
Like, I remember with Isa, which is one of our clients, was one of our clients, a car dealership. I remember I had quit. I was like, bro, I can't do Instacart anymore. Like, this is it. Like,
yeah,
because I was doing Instacart consistently.
Yeah.
And like, I was making good money, bro. Right. But it got to a point, and I remember telling you this, I'm like, bro, I've just gotten so good at it. Like, I remember the aisles. Yeah. I remember where things are at. And I'm like, I cannot be this good.
Right.
Like, I'm putting too much time here.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I remember I'm like, one day I'm just like, this is it. Today I'm just not going back. Like, I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to focus on our businesses, and figure out a way. And I remember I went to go talk to Antonio. I remember I bumped him, and like within a week I made that connection with Isa.
Yeah.
And then I got Prospect Bacon, which is like a huge fucking shift there, bro. That was like a fucking like crazy move right there. But yeah, that's been my role. And then Isaac has just been really good at making then those things happen, because, it's really easy to have these ideas and, attempt them.
Yeah.
But I'm also the type of person who if I don't see it work immediately, I'll like move on.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're the person who like sticks at it, which is ultimately what you need.
Yeah.
You need someone to be able to stick at it, stick at it, because it will be successful, but it just needs time.
Yeah.
It just needs time.
Yeah. So then I think once we bought Beachside, we were really in the mindset of, we became these entrepreneurs that really started thinking about buying businesses and growing our brands. And long story short, we started making more connections and meeting more people and attempting to buy different businesses. And we got good at, not good, but we learned a lot from meeting other business owners and talking about their numbers and how to assess if a business is worth buying. And we've gone through, I would say, at least a good 6 from that time after buying,
which is a lot.
After buying beachside, and then I don't know if we want to transition over to kind of, you meeting Armand, starting to rent the cars.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that we're like skipping out on here, but I feel like we'll mention them later on as they become relevant.
Yeah.
There's just so much more, in those 2 years, like a big insight, because this is going to lead into this, is a huge insight that I had was when I started running Rib. I finally got the sense of like I can make money and deliver happiness.
Yeah.
And deliver an experience. And I don't have to be working on my computer all day, and I don't have to be reporting to a general manager, and I don't have to be dependent on because all we were doing is just driving leads for other businesses. And so in that game, you're very dependent on what they do, and it's very hard for us to be dependent on someone else, because we're the type of people who, again, we want to do everything perfect. We want to execute everything as good as possible. And so when our work isn't being maximized to its full potential, that's where it gets very frustrating, right? Again, we were in the car dealership industry, and it just wasn't an industry that I loved so much, just because, again, we were essentially, helping Hispanics, because that's what we focused on, is like helping Hispanics get in cars, which obviously everybody needs a car, but it was that it was just like, I don't know, it just didn't feel 100% good with me. And so when we found Rib and we started operating it, and we started seeing like, oh, we're at the beach, we're in Santa Monica, pretty girls, the sun, good weather, it was just like, this is just amazing. And so that was a huge insight, and that's when like we started, again, going down that path of like buying another bike shop, because one, acquiring a business, buying is something that we liked, because again, starting a business is very complicated. Buying a business is complicated as well, but it's just they both have their pros and cons. But again, I always say with buying a business, it's already operating, and all you need to do is bring your knowledge and your youth or whatever you have and make that better, right? And so we started developing this idea of just like expanding all over the West Coast. At first it was like, how do we continue to grow Rib? How do we continue to grow the trucks? And we attempted at that, and I think that's always something that that's still there. But then we're just like, there's other bike shops for sale, so we did that. And then I think we just got to this point, because I started looking at more businesses, right? Mm-hmm. And I started seeing like jet ski businesses for sale, like in Tulum, Mexico. I started seeing businesses for sale, like in Washington, which is like canoeing and shit. I found a water park.
Yeah.
I started finding a bunch of these fun businesses, that you're around. We fucking flew to Florida to look at a business.
Yeah.
We flew to Florida to look at a business there. And so again, I'm looking at all these fun businesses because I love operating these businesses. I love just having fun and making money. And so if you want me to tie it into, what it is, Well,
you researched the car rental business too, remember?
I did find a car rental. Yeah, I did find a car rental business for sale. But even, before that, I've never been like a huge car guy. I don't think you have either.
No.
And living in California, this is what got me into cars. Like, guys, the fucking first 3 months that I was in Santa Monica, I would just fucking see Porsches, bro, all the fucking time, bro.
Yeah.
And that was the first car that got me. And I was just like, bro, if I could just like whip in a Porsche, like that would just be fucking insane, bro.
Yeah,
'Cause
you were
it's just, again, you're in California and you see all these cars and you're just like, I want to like be in one of those, you know? And again, you just kind of get sold this idea. And I think, yeah, I don't know. And then, you know, things started going good for us. And yeah, Isaac's birthday came around and I was like, fuck, bro, like what if I rented a car, you know? A fucking sick ass car that, you know, we could drive for his birthday. And then that's when I pulled up on the C8.
And the Corvette, dude, that orange Corvette on my birthday was legendary. And that was the first car, right, that you rented? And
well, I mean, we rented some in Hawaii.
Right.
But it was like like a necessity. It wasn't like, you know.
Yeah, this one it was like more for fun. And I don't know, I think you fell in love with the Vet, right? Like you fell in love with that car, and obviously I love it too, but that's when we really started to think about doing this, right? Like getting more into the car rental space and cars. And I always believed that it's easier to stay in your lane, right? Like what you know. And we are really good at renting bikes, right? Renting electric bikes and bikes. And I started thinking, and Max started thinking, well, why don't we rent cars? And going back to we always share this vision of giving people a good experience, no matter what. And that's why our customer service is amazing at both of our stores. If you check out our reviews, people have an amazing time with us, and we drill that hard. Make the experience amazing for the customer, and we just got really good at that. So with that being said, we always dreamed of owning properties, and then here in California by the ocean you see the boats, right? And you have Marina del Rey with all the boats and jet skis, and we just got into this idea of why don't we create, you know, the ultimate experience here in California, which leads into, you know, our vision and how we're taking the steps to continue to, you know, build the assets that we want to create that vision.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, like, we're in the tourism space, you know. I think there was a point where that clicked. Like, you know, we're in the tourism industry because we do bike rentals in a place that a lot of people travel to and that gets a lot of attention. And I think we realized that we were in the tourism space, and I think and I think that attracted us, you know.
Yeah.
And I think we just wanted to continue to, again, you know, expand those experiences. And I just remember, I mean, just because I really want to mention this, like, yeah, when we were on that Corvette, it was just one of, again, there are just some experiences that you have in life, right? Where you're just like, damn, like you just can't stop thinking about it. It's like everybody has to experience this at least once in their life.
Yeah.
Like there's, you know, you have that feeling. Like I had that when, you know, when you ride a bike. Like when you just ride a bike again for the first time, like when I rode one again for the first time, I was just like, oh my God, like beautiful, right?
Yeah.
When I rode an e-bike, I was like, what the fuck, you know?
Right.
And when we fucking rode the Onyx and went down the Pacific Coast Highway, like 50 miles per hour, it's like, whoa. and then now the Corvette was just like that. Because again, like living in Cali, you see these flashy cars, right? You see the lifestyle, and, you know, online, and, you know, the McLarens, the Lambos, the G-Wagons. But I think for so many people, they're like, I'll just work, you know. I don't know if so many people think about renting them.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like some guilt in renting them. Like, oh, I gotta own it, you know.
Right. I gotta own it.
And for me, it was just like, I was like, I have to taste this.
Yeah.
Because I really want this.
Right.
And I don't know if, sometimes it's like you finally get what you were working for so hard. And you're like, it really isn't what I wanted it to be, And it's like all that time, you just kind of wasted it.
Well, and it's also kind of like looked bad upon, right? Oh, it's not your car. You're
That's
flexing.
what I'm saying. That's why it's like guilt.
And it's like it's just an experience, right? That why would you, if you don't have the funds, like why would you buy that car? And most importantly, it's just like one of a kind experience that could really just make the trip for you, right? If you come visit here, California, and now granted, me living here now in Cali and seeing like not everything, but seeing what it's all about, it's normal to me to be here, right? But dude, the amount of times that come down the ramp where Rib is, and like people just with their phones, because that view is amazing, right? When you come down the ramp on the hill on Bay Street, the amount of people that when I used to work more there, the amount of people that came down with their phones, right? And just recording and being like, oh my gosh, like it looks like GTA or, it's amazing, so beautiful. You got the palm trees, the ocean, the bike path, good weather. And that's what I took from it, that I'm like, man, these people really come to Cali and it's a dream to come here to California. So we want to expand on that and be able to not just provide, electric bikes, but now,
Yeah, because I mean, after I rode that Corvette, I mean, bro, when I saw that car pull up, like when Armand pulled with the car and I saw it, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? And then I remember texting you. I was like, bro, come outside. Like, you gotta see this shit. And I pulled up, and bro, this shit just looks like a fucking beast, bro.
It looks like a Hot Wheel, like those mini cars.
And then we fucking drove it that whole day, right? Like we went to like fucking Beverly Hills, we went to West Hollywood, Malibu. Like we were just driving it, right?
We should post some videos.
Yeah, we should. You just like, the car's really nice, and just the reactions, right?
Yeah.
Like the reactions that people have is like a huge thing too, right? And so again, like when at the end of the experience, I was like shocked by it, and I was like, people have to experience this, like, and we should try to deliver this experience. And this was exactly a year ago, right? And so it's just one of those things that like we're always working on a bunch of things. Like Isaac said, we were like in talks with 6 other businesses, like since we bought Beachside, and it's a constant like trying to figure out, can we buy this business? Can we buy that business? Should we do this? And, it just kind of got to that point right now where it's like, we have to, we want to start, our own car fleet. Mm-hmm. And that's why we got the fucking vet.
Yeah.
Fucking vet ski.
Yeah. And I wanted to add too, sorry, I'm kind of like backtracking a little bit, but yes, we got the vet. It's here on the screen. Beautiful red color. We were debating between a red and a blue. Max, I think the red is just more like, it grabs more attention, and that's what I was like, no, definitely. Yeah, the red grabs more attention. So I said, you know what, let's go with the red. And this happened yesterday. Yeah. So today's what, the 17th. It happened the 16th. But I also wanted to add, bro, that me personally, I also wanted that lifestyle of, I saw this when we were able to take our friends on group rides on the electric bikes, right? And how much fun that was for them. Some of them, had not tried like an e-bike, and just giving that experience to like our families and our friends. It was so amazing because one, these things are making us money, right? They're making us money, they're ours, but it's not just like a purchase that you have and it just sits there, right? And you get to ride it, but then you get bored of it. It's just something that when you have your friends or your family and they get to experience that, it's such a cool feeling. that I started thinking, I want the lifestyle where I want, the bikes, the cars, the boat, the houses, a private plane, and have friends and family experience that, because ultimately I want to be able to own these things so I have access to them, but also just provide that experience.
100%, 100%. Because there's a point where you get used to it. Like us,
Right.
again, like I'm used to the Corvette, like I'm gonna get more used to it now. And there's different waves, right? Like
Right.
different waves. Like right now that it's ours, it's gonna be different, But I agree with you there 100%, which is all about like continuing to provide that experience. And I think I said that as well, which was like, we were doing this, and it's like I have to share this. We have to continue to share this experience. And I don't know if you do remember, but when we moved to Santa Monica,
Yeah.
the first car, this was actually like we were already thinking about this way before, because the first car was the Bronco.
Right.
So I saw
That's true.
I remember I fell in love with the Bronco, and I was like, bro, like we need to get a Bronco. Like a Bronco in Cali is just like,
It
bro,
was an old school Bronco.
old school Bronco, like 1967, old school Bronco. And like always, we always are able to manifest these things. And we saw the most fucking beautiful, pimped out fucking Bronco, dude. But this shit was like 100K.
Yeah.
This shit was 100K. And again, we had just moved to Santa Monica. And when you do, when you try to make a move on something like this for the first time, you hear 100K for a 1967 Bronco. You're just like, what the fuck? Like, you can't do that, right? But that's what you need to do, because now 2 years later, we're in the same situation, and we're like, okay, well, it hits less, You're like, I can do this, I've been processing this idea, I've been thinking about it, we've done our research, etc., etc.
From a business standpoint, I also like to add that in my head, I started thinking, well, if we want to continue to be in this game of rental, renting things, renting the experience, our order value has to be higher, right? And people have to keep it for longer. And then that's why I thought, well, let's rent something more expensive, right? Because in order to increase your order value, like the item has to be more expensive. And I thought that the Vet was a really good car to get into something new for us, because it's expensive, but it's not G-Wagon expensive. And
it's not like a Urus, Lambo, a Rari,
yeah,
fucking like a GT Porsche, fucking
and I remember talking to Max a few days prior, and we were just thinking, well, we know we want to do this. We know our vision, which is to have the houses, the cars,
the boats, the bikes,
and
the
be
girls.
able to, for someone to the what?
Said the girls.
Be able to rent this amazing experience where someone, a family or a couple or homies, want to say, hey, I want to go to Santa Monica or LA, and I want to stay there for a couple weeks, and I need a house, a badass house, I need a badass car, and we'll throw in a few e-bikes, right, for you guys to have fun. And that's the vision that we have, that we want to be able to create these experiences for people with amazing cars, amazing bikes, and beautiful homes. So that's kind of how Ride It Baby Cars came up with this logo right here. And I love it, bro. Like, I think that logo, when I saw it, I was like, well, I know if you've been on that vibe, like I don't know, what is it, retro? Is that kind of?
It's like vintage, retro.
Because that's the one that you did for Rip, right?
Right.
The shirt. And yeah, when I saw it, I was like, this is really nice.
Yeah, it's hard. It's honestly pretty hard, bro.
That speaks California, right? Like,
that does.
And specifically Santa Monica.
And cars.
Yeah, so the color of the orange and red and yellow.
It's like the sunset.
And then I love Ride It Baby there, with Ride It Baby bikes and in honor of Ride It Baby. But
Yeah.
Next up, Ride a Baby boats, Ride a Baby. I don't know.
Ride a Baby boats. Yeah.
But anyways.
Ride a Baby experiences.
So, yeah, we said, we know we want to do this, but now let's pick the car. We love the Vet. It's a car that we've driven. We really absolutely love it.
And I mean, we were trying a lot of things to, like, with Armand. I don't know if you want to, like.
Yeah, we the guy that rented the first Vet to Max
became the homie.
Is the homie,
right? Became the homie.
Yeah. And he actually does this for a living. Cars in the LA area.
And I remember him telling me, I was just like, bro, I would tell him, I was like, bro, I just want these cars, like. Yeah. And he's like, I can get you these cars. You know how he talks. It's like, I can get you these cars.
I miss our meetings.
Hey, yeah, bro. He's cool.
We wanted to partner up.
And we tried to partner up, and we tried to do a partnership. But again, a partnership is just very complicated. We got to know him over the course of a year. Again, because we've rented this. We've almost known him for a year now. And so we've gotten to know him, but, again, you start to see as we were working things out, there's just different styles. There was different styles of way of working, between him and us. And at the end of the day, we also just weren't able to close on the cars that, we were trying to get with him.
Yeah.
And that was in great part because I just couldn't qualify for these fucking crazy ass, because he was like, he's seasoned, right?
Yeah.
So he was like ready to strike. And I just didn't have that capability to qualify for those cars. So that's what was the play with this Vet too. It's like, let's just get our feet wet. Let's get it going. Let's see what we can do ourselves. Big risk because we don't know how to rent cars.
But we know how we've been renting, but it's a different
game.
Yeah, it's a different game. We have some experience renting.
We have a lot. Yeah, like we have experience like renting bikes and and a lot of business experience and marketing and everything. But it's just we have no experience renting cars. It's not like I have a customer. We're gonna figure it out. Like we're in this stage right now, and
it helps too that we been customers too,
right?
So we've seen that process of renting a car. I did want to add that nothing against Armand. I really like him. I think he's a great guy. I remember telling Max, bro, I really think that we can do it ourselves, and more than anything, because with Armand the deal was getting 4 to 5 cars, right? And we felt like that was a lot, and we were still gonna go through with it, but we did feel like
it was it's a
commitment with a partner that we don't 100% know yet, and we started to realize that we do things a little bit differently. And I told Max, bro, I really think that we can do this ourselves. Look, we want that lifestyle. We want the Vet. We can rent it ourselves. There's just a few things to figure out. And yeah, Max found some Vets at this dealership, and we just scheduled a day, went yesterday, picked it up, and we buy things very quickly. It was at least with cars. The Kia, first one that, like, we didn't even go to another dealership.
I guess, when it comes to cars,
the Tacoma, the truck, we didn't visit other dealerships. The Vet,
I agree with that.
Yeah, but that's pretty much our story, and share with you guys the vision that we have of really creating an amazing experience here for people in California, and giving them a la carte package, something amazing. That, hey, we have this villa in Malibu, we have this townhouse in Santa Monica overlooking the ocean, or we have this one in PV, right? and pick your car, right? We have the G-Wagon available, we have the Urus. Are you with the family? We have the Cadillac, the
Escalade.
The Escalade. We have the Vet if you're a young guy, and then we'll throw some e-bikes for you, right? Or come rent an e-bike, and it's on us. We're located here and here, and then expand. Obviously right now, try to figure out this rental car game, and eventually get more cars, get really good at finding the best cars, which ones we'll rent, and then eventually just I don't know what our next thing is, but probably property. You know, I think it would be good to add a property down the line and just go from there.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely, I think, one of the things that we have committed to, and I feel like this will be maybe a different episode.
Yeah.
But part of the reason why we decided to commit to something like this is because we love being in California.
Yeah.
And you know, we had been, you know, when we mentioned what was going on in our lives at the beginning, we were jumping around a lot, you know, and so California was that like third place, and it was just like, you know, are we gonna stay here or are we gonna jump around again? And you know, it's hard to make that commitment to one place, but you know, California makes sense in so many ways. It doesn't in some as well, but you know, we made that decision of staying here in California just because of just what the lifestyle is here. And you know, it has a lot of things coming up. You know, we've talked about these, but the World Cup is coming to the US. I really think that the World Cup final is going to be in LA. You got Copa America coming up, which is going to be, I think, 2024. And then, you know, you also have the Olympics, which is going to be huge in LA Olympics in 2027. So you got Copa America 2024, World Cup 2026, and Olympics 2027, right? So we're 2023. It's 4 years from now. It's like a 5-year plan, you know, continuing to build to be able to, when these things come, especially the World Cup, you know, we're in a position where, you know, things are running very, very smooth. And then from there, we'll see what happens. I mean, part of the goal too is just to continue to do this worldwide. But again, where it gets hard is just like the resources. And, you know, it's like, you know, if we want to, you know, replicate this and continue to go into other parts of the world, because again, I know that, you know, California is probably not, you know, I love California and I think it's a very beautiful state, but I'm sure there's a lot other beautiful states.
Yeah.
I don't know if states. Maybe Miami. But just a lot of other places, you know, that have their own unique experiences, that have their own lifestyle, you know, that have a different way of living, and, you know, rib worldwide, like that's part of the mission too. And I think that's also why I love doing, you know, expanding the brand like this too, because it's just like, it really allows it to go worldwide, you know?
Yeah.
And allows us to fast track things, but obviously it takes time, you know?
Yeah. I think that sums it up, and yeah, let's just keep working hard. We're hopefully going to start renting the vet soon. We just have a couple of things to do, a checklist to take care of, and hopefully you guys, you know, follow along. The Instagram page is live for Ride It Baby Cars.
Ride It Baby Cars.
That. We got Ride It Baby Bikes here in Santa Monica, and then Beachside Bike Rental in Redondo Beach. And yeah, I mean, follow us too. Hopefully we start posting a little bit more, but
yeah. I mean, I just like, I think for me, what I've been liking is just sharing a little bit of the behind the scenes, you know?
Yeah.
Because we're making all these things happen, you know, for the businesses. And it's like the businesses announce it.
Yeah.
And then I like showing, like, this is kind of behind the scenes, you know?
Right.
So I like doing that behind the scenes. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. There's a lot more that we didn't cover, because again, it's fucking impossible to cover that. But I'm sure we'll bring it up, you know, it's gonna come, you know, in different episodes.
We'll try to bring, hopefully, a guest in the podcast. Hopefully Armand would be Kirk. Kirk would be good, bro. Just like
what would
the vibe,
the bungalow?
What's Santa Monica like?
Maybe that's like a little pool episode
with the mics, right?
Dude,
I thought about that. I even told Dara, like, I envision like us playing pool with people and like just doing like a podcast.
Yeah,
I do envision that. And yeah, just more people, other business owners. We know a few business owners, and yeah. So stay tuned. Hopefully, we commit to this. All right.
Peace out.
See ya.